So importance of food preservation, economic benefits are there. It helps in saving your cost. Buying in bulk and preserving foods at home can save money compared to frequent purchases of fresh produce. Stabilize prices. Preservation helps stabilize food prices by reducing seasonal price fluctuation and ensuring a steady supply of various foods year round. Then importance of food preservation, food security availability ensures the availability of food during off seasons or in regions where certain fresh foods are not available year round. In that case, we can preserve the food by food preservation methods, and that is availability of foods during security food during off seasons and during rainy seasons, and when there's a stock is very low of any particular food. By food security and by preservation methods, we can ensure the availability of foods during these particular seasons, during off seasons and during regions where certain fresh foods are not available year round. So we have foods because of the methods of preservation of foods which we follow. Emergency preparedness, stockpiled preserved foods can be essential during emergencies or natural disaster, providing reliable nutrition when fresh food supplies are disrupted. So emergency preparedness, stockpiled preserved foods can be essential during emergencies or natural disaster, providing reliable nutrition when fresh food supplies are disrupted. So we can use the methods of food preservation during emergency situation if any arises, any flood situation arises, any natural calamities arises, windstorm is there, ocean storm is there, flood is there, famine is there, and during these earthquake is there. During natural disaster conditions, we should have store foods for these particular periods and disaster. During emergency circumstances, unanticipated conditions, natural disaster. In that case, we should have security of food so that we can use uh, for uh, for the consumption purposes during periods when we know it is not possible for adequate supply of foods in that particular region because of flood and famine is there. So we can supply these food items in that particular region because of we have stored foods, preserved foods for the during to be used for during natural disasters purposes and all. Apart in the you can say Apatkaline city, we can use these uh, preservative methods and of food so that we can supply foods in abundance as per the requirements of particular state and region because of these natural calamities and emergency conditions and all. So we can provide them food during emergencies. That is the food security aspect of importance of food preservation. That is, you prepared yourself for the emergencies conditions, contingencies if any arise, anticipatory, unanticipated, unexpected conditions when it arises, natural calamities if any arises. We can have storage of foods, preservation of foods, so that we can utilize it for the people of that particular state who are impacted by the natural calamities. They are victimized by the natural calamities of particular state or region, so that because of food preservation has its own importance and significance, food security. Then convenience is there. Time saving. Ready to eat preserved foods reduce preparation time, offering convenience for busy lifestyles. Variety enables consumers to enjoy a diverse range of food, regardless of season or geographic location. Then come to the importance of food preservation. Nutritional benefits are there. Retention of nutrients. Many preservation methods such as freezing, canning helps retain the nutritional value of foods. Enhance nutrition. Some preservation process like fermentation can increase the nutrition value by adding probiotics and other beneficial compounds. Then culture preservation is there, traditional practices. Many food preservation methods are a part of cultural heritage, preserving traditional recipes and practices. Culinary diversity, preserved foods contribute to culinary diversity, allowing for the enjoyment of various traditional and regional dishes. So there are certain nutritional benefits of food preservation, retention of nutrients. Many preservation methods we can use. We can use freezing. We can use canning to retain the nutritional value of foods. But there are certain nutrition benefit as well for the preservation of foods. We can use for too long, for a week, for a month, for 6 months, for 1 year, 2 years, 5 years, 10 years. We can use because of the preservation methods. We can use to retain the essential nutrients as well. We can retain by preserving methods. Enhanced nutrition, some preservation process like fermentation can increase the nutrition value of foods by adding certain probiotics and other beneficial compounds. Then cultural preservation. Traditional practices, many food preservation methods are a part of cultural heritage, preserving traditional recipes and practices. Culinary diversity is there. Preserved foods contribute to culinary diversity, allowing for the enjoyment of various traditional and regional dishes. So there is importance of food preservation. Nutritional benefits are there. Retention of nutrients. Many preservation methods, freezing, canning, help to retain the nutritional value of foods. It enhances your nutrition. Some processes like fermentation also increase the nutritional value of food. You can add probiotics and other important elements and compounds to make that food beneficial to use after preservation. Culture preservation is here. Some practices we are following during traditional times for preservation of foods by adding some lemon and all, some black salt and all. We can preserve the foods. We can store the food as well for the future purposes, for emergencies and all, and for we in our home at our home also we preserve foods to be used for later on in coming months we are using. So we preserve foods by preservation methods we are using to preserve the foods. Then culture diversity is here. Preserved foods contribute to culinary diversity and it allows for enjoyment of various traditional and regional dishes. Then come to the importance of food preservation. Environmental impact is here. If you preserving food, it reduces carbon footprint by minimizing food waste. Preservation helps reduce the overall environmental impact of food production and distribution. Sustainable practices, methods like drying, fermentation, often have lower environmental impact compared to refrigeration and freezing. Then economic stability for farmers, market extension, allow farmers to sell their products over a long period, not just during harvest time. Income diversification is there, provides additional income streams through the sale of preserved products. So economic stability of farmers, market extension is there, and it allows farmers to extend their products over a long period of time, not during only the harvesting time, but after harvesting time they can sell their products because of the food preservation methods, because of the importance of food preservation that gives the economic stability to farmers, market extension to farmers to sell their products over a long period of time, not just during the harvest time. Income diversification is there, provides additional income streams through the sale of preserved products. Then modes of preservation of foods. Food preservation involves various methods to extend the shelf life of food by slowing down spoilage caused by microorganisms, enzymes and other factors. Here are some common modes of food preservation. Refrigeration and freezing is there. Refrigeration slows down the growth of microorganism by keeping food at low temperature, usually 0 to 5 degrees centigrade or 32 to 41 Fahrenheit. That is a refrigeration process of storing the preserving the food item that slows down the growth of microorganism in your food by keeping it at low temperatures, usually 0 to 5 degrees centigrade or 30 to 41 degree Fahrenheit. Then freezing. Freezing stops microbial growth by keeping food at temperatures below minus 80 degrees centigrade or 0 degree Fahrenheit, preserving foods for months or even years. Food preservation canning method is here. Boiling water canning suitable for high acid foods like fruits, pickles and tomatoes. Pressure canning necessary for low acid foods such as vegetables, meats and soups to ensure safety by reaching temperatures above boiling. Drying method is there, sun drying method is there. That is the traditional methods of storing the food items like papad, storing a papad, achar, and pickles and all. You can say chutneys and all. We can mangodi, badi, and we can making by sun drying, and we can preserve foods by sun drying. So these are traditional methods of using the sun heat to dry the food items to bring to for storage purposes for too long, for years and years. We can store foods by using the sun heat. That is a process of drying the food item like pickles and all, papads and all, achars, fryams and all. We can use chips and all. We can make and we can make and preserve and store by using a sun drying method, traditional method using the sun heat. Dehydrators are they use control temperatures and airflow to remove moisture from food. So they are the dehydrators we can use to control the moisture and to control the temperature of food. That is a method of food preservation, drying. Freeze drying is there, removes moisture through sublimation, ice directly to vapor, preserving flavor and nutrients. That is a freeze drying. So we are using freeze drying to store the food, and it adds and we can preserve the flavor as well, nutrient as well by freeze drying. It removes moisture through the process of sublimation. So ice directly to vapor. Then another method is salting and braining. Salting and braining draws out moisture and creates an environment inhospitable to bacteria, commonly used for meats and fish. Braining, soaking food in a salt water solution to achieve similar preservation effects. That is a braining method. Braining is a method of preservation of foods, soaking food in a salt water solution to achieve similar preservation effects. That is braining. Salting is draws out moisture and creates an environment inhospitable to bacteria, commonly used for meats and fish. Then pickling. Pickling is another method of food preservation. Vinegar pickling is used for picking for pickles, and use acid vinegar to preserve vegetables and other foods. Fermentation pickling is utilize natural bacteria to produce lactic acid, which preserve the food like sauerkraut, kimchi, and all. So we can preserve by fermentation pickling and vinegar pickling. We can use acetic vinegar to preserve foods and other to prepare to pickles and all, chutneys and all, sauces and all. So we can preserve these items or food items by using vinegar and all. Some fruits we can store, some vegetables we can store at in our refrigerator or kitchen by using vinegar pickling methods and fermentation pickling method. We can store food for too long. So fermentation pickling utilizes natural bacteria to produce lactic acid, which preserves the food. And fermentation is lactic acid fermentation, converts sugar into lactic acid, yogurt. And alcohol fermentation, yeast converts sugars into alcohol, example wine and beer. Sugaring is another method of food preservation. Candied fruits, coating or cooking fruits in sugar to prevent microbial growth. Jams and jellies, cooking fruits with sugar to create high sugar environment that inhibits bacterial growth. Smoking is there. Hot smoking cooks flavors food while preserving it. Cold smoking preserves and flavor food without cooking it, often combined with curing. That is a method of food preservation. Sugaring is there, smoking is there, and sugaring we use for candied fruits and for cooking fruits in a sugar to prevent from microbial growth. And we can use for jam and jellies sugaring elements, so cooking fruits with sugar to create high sugar environment that inhibits bacterial growth. Smoking is there, hot smoking is there, cold smoking is there. So cooks and flavor food while preserving it. and cold smoking is there. Preserves and flavored food without cooking it hot, often combined with curing. Food preservation, vacuum sealing is there, and vacuum packaging is there, removes air from the packaging to slow down oxidation and growth of aerobic microorganisms. That is a vacuum sealing. That is another method of food preservation. That is vacuum sealing. Vacuum packaging removes air from the packaging to slow down oxidation and growth of aerobic microorganisms. Chemical preservatives, natural preservatives, salt, sugar, vinegar, and natural extracts like rosemary. We can use these chemical preservatives to preserve the food from spoilage and all. And we can use for too long, by using salt, by using sugar, by using vinegar, natural extracts like rosemary. We can use sometimes. Uh, Lemon we can use for preservation of food items. Uh, the black salt we use for preservation of food items. The oil we use, sometimes we use oil, mustard oil and oil for preservation of food items for too long. So these are the elements. These have some elements that helps to reduce, to slow down the growth of microorganisms in your food. Bacteria in your food, or you can say fungi in your food. Then artificial preservatives, sorbates and benzonates and nitrates added to inhibit microbial growth and spoilage. Sorbates are there, benzonates are there, nitrates are there, that added to inhibit microbial growth and spoilage of foods. So that is the artificial preservatives are there to prevent the food from growth of and to slow down the growth of microorganism in your food. Another method of food preservation is pasteurization and sterilization. A mild heat treatment, example for food to kill a pathogenic microorganism. Ultra high temperature processing sterilizes food by heating it above 135 degrees centigrade to 275 Fahrenheit for few seconds. That is another method of food preservation, pasteurization and sterilization methods, and that is using mild heat treatments for milk and kill pathogenic microorganism from milk. And sterilized food method by heating it above 130 degrees centigrade for a few seconds. That is an ultra high temperature processing of for the purposes of preservation of food. These are the methods we are using for preservation of foods, pasteurization and sterilization methods, at ultra high temperature processing methods for the purposes of preservation of foods, the storage of foods for too long, and for years and years we can store based on the nature and type of food we can store for but we can store for too long. Like pickles, we can store for 1 year and 2 years. That is, if we can store for too long. Papads, we can store for too long. Papads and fryams, we can store for too long. So, chutneys, we can use for too long, so for 6 months and all. Then irradiation is there. That is another method of preservation of food. Irradiation, gamma radiation kills bacteria, parasites and insects in food without raising temperature. Each method has its specific application, benefits and limitations, making them suitable for different types of foods and preservation needs. Conclusion. These guidelines vary depending on the specific preservation methods and type of food being served or preserved. Always refer to reliable sources such as USDA guidelines or reputable food preservation resources for detailed instructions and safety precautions. These are the guidelines, so very depending upon the specific preservation methods and type of food you are serving preserved and storing for too long. And you should rely on reliable sources as per the guidelines of USDA or reputable food preservation sources for detailed instructions and safety precautions. Summary is here. In a nutshell, various preservation methods are employed based on the type of food and desired shelf life. Future trends, innovations in food technology continue to improve preservation techniques enhancing food safety and quality. That is a future trend of preservation of foods. So that requires innovation in food technology and proven preservation techniques that helps to enhance food safety and quality. Food preservation plays a vital role in modern society, but by ensuring food safety, reducing waste, enhancing convenience, and contributing to economic and environmental sustainability. It also supports food security, cultural heritage, and a nutritional quality of diets, um, making it a cornerstone of a global food system. This is a concluding remarks of this topic. Uh, Methods of, or you can say, modes of preservation of food. Then come to the very important words used in this topic. Preservation of food, what is food is all about, what do you understand by the term food, and what is the importance of preservation of food, and preservation methods of food, and the important words, the key words used in this topic today class, that is food. So what do you understand by the term food? Any nutritious substance that people or animals eat or drink, or that plants observe to maintain life and growth. Nutrition, the process by which organisms obtain and utilize food for growth, metabolism, and repair. That is a definition of nutrition. Then a definition of ingredients, that is components used in preparing foods or other substances. Then cooking, the process of preparing food by applying heat, that is a process of cooking. Then cuisine, a style or method of cooking, especially or as characteristics of a particular country, region, or establishment. Keywords, recipe, a set of instructions for preparing particular dish, including a list of ingredients required. Dish, a particular variety or preparation of food served as part of a meal. Flavor, the distinctive taste and aroma of a food or drink. Texture, the tactile quality of food perceived primarily by touch. Serving size, standard amount of food customarily consumed at one time. Calories, a unit of energy derived from food and drink consumed by the body. Then allergen, substance, typically protein that causes an allergic reaction, that is the definition of allergen. A substance, typically a protein that causes an allergic reaction. Then 13, organic, food produced without the use of synthetic chemicals or genetically modified organism, that is organic. Then sustainable, food produced in a manner that preserves environmental quality and supports local communities. Then preservatives, substances added to food to prevent spoilage and extend shelf life. Thank you all. Thank you. By this I went up the class. Thank you all.